Hey Dad, I made this. It's a Kalakand barfi. Looks good, eh?
It looks great.
It's very soft and nice and
This is for everybody.
yeah.
Hi friends, welcome to my video. This week we are debriefing Diwali a little bit and also sharing our courageous attempt at making Kalakand at home. Pranav took it upon himself to make some fresh sweets for Diwali. And even though it was his first attempt at doing this, we filmed it and we filmed all of the little challenges and mistakes that we made along the way too. And we're still going to walk you through this and show you how to avoid those mistakes. The barfi itself is milky, fudgy, creamy, but also light, and it's a really easy treat that you can make for any special occasion. If you celebrated Diwali this year, then I hope that you and your loved ones had a wonderful COVID Diwali. We did celebrate in a very modest way because of the pandemic and all. Typically, we celebrate both Choti Diwali and Badi Diwali. Choti Diwali is the eve of Diwali, the day before, and Badi Diwali is actual Diwali day. So my parents came over on that day. It was our first Diwali with Mahi. They brought over this beautiful mounted card that they crafted themselves, and we spent a really lovely evening together, just hanging out, eating food. And the day before Diwali, we had one friend come over and spend it with us, a really close friend of ours who you might have actually seen on this channel. Her name is Sydney. She came over, we had a lovely dinner, we lit some sparklers and some diyas, and I did give Pranav a small gift this year, mostly food items actually, because typically at this time of year we are in India with his family. It's the one time of year when we get to go home, see them, catch up, and really spend some quality time together during the Tyohar season, the festival season. And it's really difficult this year not being able to travel, see our nieces. Last year, I even had my cousin and her husband with us, so it was really nice to have some family from my side too. Spending Diwali in Ambala has become my family tradition, and even though we probably wouldn't have been able to travel with Mahi anyways, it still sucks that we weren't able to go this year. On the flip side, it was really nice to spend a Diwali in Toronto with my family because they haven't had me around at this time of year ever since I got married. So I cooked up a bunch of things, my parents came over, we spent some time with Mahi, we lit diyas, we lit sparklers, we did pretty much the same thing we did the day before, even played some cards. No Indian festival is complete without sweets, and dessert that evening was phenomenal. There was kheer, rasmalai, but the highlight of dessert, the pièce de résistance, was in fact this Kalakand barfi, which Pranav made with his own two hands. There were some hiccups along the way, but I think you can still get a pretty good idea of how to make it. A non-negotiable when it comes to making this dessert is that you have to use full fat milk. I cannot even begin to imagine how you would make a vegan version of this, but I'm sure there's a way, and if I come up with something I will post that as well. So to start with, you need about half a liter of this full fat milk. Add it to a stock pot over medium-high heat and then bring it up to a boil.
I'm just showing how it boils. While I'm going to reduce this to medium. I also want to show this extra cream on the side. I need to keep folding it into the milk. That's it.
As with any milk that contains fat, when it boils over a long period of time like this, the fat is going to solidify and rise up to the top. That's what you need to keep folding into the milk and stirring back in. It'll redissolve and then reform again, come up to the top, and you just keep doing that until the milk reduces to half or even more than half. We reduced it to about half, but in retrospect, I think we could have gone even a little further, probably to a third. Then move that over to the side, pick up another pot and add 1.5 liters of the milk to this pot. We're going to bring this up to a boil as well, and this is what we're going to use to make the chena. It's a very similar technique to making paneer with a few minor differences. You'll need some plain white vinegar, a bit of water, and you're going to add the vinegar into the water and give it a stir so that it's nicely incorporated. You're also going to need a muslin cloth or something through which you can strain the chenna. You're going to need to separate the chenna from the remaining liquid, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to separate the fat in this milk from everything else. I feel like I'm saying it in a very complicated way, and it's not at all complicated. When the milk comes up to a boil like this, you're going to add in the vinegary water, just a ladleful at a time, and stir things together. Now, if you were making paneer, you would pretty much do the same thing, but you would not dilute the vinegar. You would just add the vinegar, or you could add lime juice into the water, and you will immediately see those curds start to form. But here we're doing it a little differently. We've diluted the vinegar, and this is going to make really soft, fluffy, puffy curds that are going to work really well for our kalakand. You can see that they're already starting to form. You can experiment a little bit with the heat on your stove, turning it up, turning it down, seeing what works for you best, but you want to add that vinegary water when there is some kind of a boil happening. And now that the solids have formed, we're straining it. I'm using my French press to do this. I mean, it was the only thing that we had that was tall enough to accommodate the solids, and then I have a muslin cloth going through that. Then about halfway through, we realized that this actually was not going to cut it, and we had to transfer it into something else, and look at the mess that we created doing this. It's okay, no judgment. When we finally successfully strained all of the chenna, which was a two-person job, look at what we're doing. Look at what's happening here. I'm using a knife to stabilize the muslin. We're cleaning up as we go along. I mean, what a circus. Anyway, next, you have to wash the chenna. This is easier than it sounds, and even easier than it looks. We're pouring water through the French press, through the muslin. You can actually just carry your muslin over to the sink and run some water through it. That will be equally, if not more effective than what we're doing. And then when you rinse the chenna, you want to squeeze out the excess water. Getting close to the end here. Here is a look at the chenna after it has been separated, washed a couple of times, squeezed. It had a very light and fluffy, spongy texture. Moving along, we have some dried rose petals, as well as some almonds and cardamom or elaichi. We're actually going to crush the almonds. These items are going to be sprinkled over the top of the kalakand. And now it's time to mash the chenna, so just move it into a dish or a bowl that can accommodate it, and using a potato masher or a fork, try to remove any large clumps. This is never going to be smooth, and we're not going for a smooth texture. We are going for a finer, crumbly texture. So just remove any larger lumps. And then the milk that you reduced earlier, it's time to warm that up again and add a little bit of sugar as per your preference. Then add the chenna into the sweetened milk. Here I would reiterate the importance of reducing this milk as much as possible. You still want it to be liquid, of course, but I think that we didn't reduce it enough, and as a result, our kalakand, although delicious, could have been a little more set. So the more you reduce that initial portion of milk, the more set your kalakand will be, and that will allow you to slice it, portion it, without it losing its shape. We were still able to slice ours and portion ours, but it was a little softer than we would have originally liked. Still, that's okay. This is actually the first time we attempted to do this, and I am very proud of Pranav's effort. I think he did a great job, and we did definitely learn some lessons that we would try to implement going forward if we attempted to make this again. So here we've emptied out the chenna and milk reduction into a tray. We're topping it with our items, the rose petals, the crushed almonds, and a little bit of powdered cardamom. And then this right here is just going to go into the fridge. And we left it there overnight.
ये फ्रिज में जाएगा.
Yes, we'll go into the fridge overnight, hopefully solidify it. It should not be super solid. It's a fluffy barfi. So.
Okay. See you tomorrow, beautiful.
So there you have it, our attempt at making fresh sweets at home. Kind of successful, also some lessons learned, but I hoped you enjoyed it. Please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.